The Olson twins never forget. Hit her head and went to bed. Now, I rarely do these kinds of celebrity decodes anymore because you can go down some pretty deep rabbit holes and really never come to any conclusions. It's mostly speculations. But this Olson thing, I think, has much deeper implications than I think anyone is really considering at this moment. If you haven't heard by now, Bob S., we will call him, who played the Olson twins' father in the 8-season sitcom Full House, was allegedly found dead in his hotel after he apparently accidentally fell and hit his head, not just his head, but the back of his head, and then got up and went to sleep to never wake up. Now, of course, we're getting this report through the media secondhand, but what if there is more at play here? I woke up this morning with an epiphany that I should check through all the Full House episodes to see if there was ever any episodes in which Bob hit his head and went to sleep. Now, I didn't find any episodes in which Bob hit his head, but here's what I did find. It wasn't Bob who hit his head and went to sleep, but it was one of the Olson twins in the final season finale, Season 8. Now, many of you will remember this because it was the season finale for the final season. And you'll remember that Michelle goes riding off with her new friend. She falls off her horse, hits her head, gets amnesia, and then goes to bed. Now, the reason why this whole going to bed thing stood out to me was because they tell you after a concussion or amnesia that you should never go to sleep. But as you're going to see next in the final 2 episodes, she goes to bed 2 or 3 times after hitting her head, and they simply let her. Let's watch some of these clips, and then I'll give you my thoughts on what this all might mean. Now, many of you already know where I'm heading with this.
She fell off her horse.
Michelle, don't move her.
She hit her head.
Fell off her horse.
Michelle, don't move her.
She hit her head.
Is she okay?
I don't know. Michelle, can you hear me, honey? Hi, honey. Look, sweetie, you had an accident, and you fell off your horse, and you hit your head. How do you feel?
Okay, but my head hurts.
And you hit your head. I'm so sorry I put so much pressure on you.
That's okay.
What's going on here? She's completely out of it.
Well, memory loss is very common with head injuries.
Oh, my God. So what are we supposed to do? I mean, how does it get better?
Look, for right now, the best thing you can do is treat Michelle as normally as possible.
I know you all want me to remember, but I can't. It's not fine. I don't know who I am. I'm just gonna lie down in my own bed. It's not fine. I don't know who I am. I'm just gonna lie down in my own bed.
I know how frustrating this must be for you.
No, you don't. You know who you are. I hate this. I can't remember anything.
I think maybe we've just been trying a little too hard.
It's okay. I'm a little tired. Maybe I'll take a nap.
Okay.
Where the heck have you been? I've been looking all over for you. I remember this bed. I remember it all. Who are you? And why do you remember everything? It's my job. I'm your memory. I've been walking around this house with an empty head and hugging people I hardly even know. When we fell off the horse, I got scared, so I hid. I hope I didn't cause you any trouble. Well, get ready, because once they realize I'm back, they're gonna go hug wild.
Michelle, you fell off your horse and hit your head. And you couldn't remember who you were or any of us.
How could I forget you guys? You're my family.
Now, many of you already know where I'm heading with this. There have been claims of conduct, haven't there? And there have been specific situations, public situations, where Bob was acting inappropriately with an Olson-sized doll in full sight of school children. Now, that in of itself doesn't prove anything, and he seemed to have a somewhat logical explanation for those who want to believe him. But let's assume that some of these allegations out there about Bob are true. Well, wouldn't there not then be a motive of revenge on the part of those who this allegedly happened to? Now, when it comes to these kinds of things and people who experience them, they have two choices to make. The overwhelming majority of people will just simply move on with their lives. They'll find a way to cope with it. Why? Because they don't want to ruin their life. They don't want to come out with it. They don't want to deal with the hassle. They don't even, in many instances, want to face their accusers. And this is contrary to popular belief, what's been sold in the media, that when these things happen, people always come forward. Well, that's not the case. Many do not. So, what really happened here? Well, here's where I think things may have headed. What better way to get even with someone than to bide your time, gaining power, influence, money, and a very carefully crafted out method that would be carried out on a specific date. 2022. You see, the last episode of Full House aired with 222 days left in the year. Was what happened to Bob his last episode? Hit your head and go to bed, falling off the horse. Now let's go a level deeper, because we all know that many times this improper conduct is a result of certain things added to people's drinks. And what that does is makes the person who this conduct happens to forget the entire event. Now I can imagine that Hollywood has this down to a science. Listen again closely to the dialogue here.
It's not fine. I don't know who I am. I'm just gonna lie down in my own bed.
I know how frustrating this must be for you.
No, you don't. You know who you are. I hate this. I can't remember anything.
I think maybe we've just been trying a little too hard.
It's okay. I'm a little tired. Maybe I'll take a nap.
Okay.
Where the heck have you been? I've been looking all over for you. I remember this bed. I remember it all. Who are you? And why do you remember everything? It's my job. I'm your memory. I've been walking around this house with an empty head and hugging people I hardly even know. When we fell off the horse, I got scared, so I hid. I hope I didn't cause you any trouble. Well, get ready, because once they realize I'm back, they're gonna go hug wild.
They talk about, I don't know who I am. Now, all these things are things that people who have been violated might say after the experience, right? I can't remember anything. And then, as time goes by, the victim starts remembering bits and pieces that don't quite all fit together. She mentions hugging people she doesn't even know. And I'm wondering, is this comment about the reaction of her family to their memories returning? Is it really about some kind of conduct that happened? Well, we will probably never know, right? This is a secret probably that the twins maybe chose to take to their grave, knowing one day that they'd get even and exact the perfect revenge.
Michelle, you fell off your horse and hit your head. And you couldn't remember who you were or any of us.
How could I forget you guys? You're my family.